Hello and welcome to Anatomy with Dr. P. In today's lab, we'll be learning about the endocrine system. The endocrine system is composed of glands that synthesize and secrete hormones. Hormones are compounds that travel through the blood and influence the activity of target cells. In order to respond to a hormone, the target cells need the right receptors. The focus of today's lab will be on 6 endocrine tissues: the pituitary gland, thyroid, parathyroid, pancreas, testes, and ovaries. Keep in mind that several of these glands are also part of other organ systems and have additional functions. For example, the pancreas produces digestive enzymes, while the testes and ovaries produce gametes in the reproductive system. The slide we're currently looking at shows the pituitary gland, also called the hypophysis. The pituitary gland is a collection of different cell types that control the activity of other endocrine organs. It sits within the cella turcica and is traditionally divided into 2 sections: an anterior pituitary up front and a posterior pituitary in back. We're going to zoom in on this section of the slide to get a better look at the cells. So let's zoom in here so we can get a nice view. All right, so up front we can see the anterior pituitary, which is also sometimes referred to as the adenohypophysis. This part of the pituitary has a darker stain and is glandular in nature. It produces growth hormone, prolactin, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, and adrenocorticotropic hormone. The posterior pituitary, which we can see back here, also known as the neurohypophysis, is mostly composed of unmyelinated axons. It stains lighter in color because it's composed of nervous tissue. Now, the key thing to remember about the posterior pituitary is that it does not produce its own hormones. Instead, it releases 2 hormones produced by the hypothalamus. Those hormones are antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. This slide shows the thyroid. The thyroid gland is located in the anterior neck and consists of structural units called follicles. Let's zoom in to get a closer look at our thyroid gland. So as we zoom in here, let's get a nice view. All right, the first thing that we notice is that we can see all of these thyroid follicles. Notice how the follicles all vary in size, but each displays this central lumen or opening area that's filled with a pink kind of gel-like substance. That gel-like substance is called colloid. Each follicle is lined by a secretory epithelium, which we can see right here. So that's going around that pink gel-like colloid. The secretory epithelium varies in height. So squamous or cuboidal cells aren't very active. They're not secreting much product. But if we saw very tall columnar cells, those cells would be very active. In the center of the lumen, again, we see the colloid, that pink gel-like mass, that contains a precursor to thyroid hormone. So that's our first hormone produced by the thyroid gland. Now, outside of our follicle, if we zoom in, see this arrow here? It's pointing to this cell right here that's kind of lighter in color. This cell doesn't belong to any of these follicles. It sits next to the follicles. So we call it a parafollicular cell. Para means next to. The parafollicular cells secrete a hormone called calcitonin, which is involved in calcium regulation. This slide shows the parathyroid gland. The prefix para means next to. This gland is next to the thyroid gland. An easy way to tell the thyroid and parathyroid glands apart is that the parathyroid gland does not have follicles packed with colloid. Instead, it has a very dense mass of cells. Let's zoom in so that we can see what I'm talking about. So as we zoom in, Notice how we don't see any of those follicles that we saw on our thyroid gland. We do have some adipose tissue here, but the cells form these really dense masses. Now, the parathyroid gland is responsible for producing a hormone called parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormone is the most important regulator of calcium in humans. The slide that we're currently looking at shows the pancreas. One important thing to note is that the pancreas is both an endocrine and an exocrine gland. The exocrine portion stains darker and is involved in the production of digestive enzymes. The endocrine portion stains lighter and forms these somewhat circular regions called pancreatic islets or islets of Langerhans. Let's zoom in on the pancreas so that we can see one of these pancreatic islets. And as we look, we can see them all here. I'm going to zoom in down on this part of the slide because we have a really big one right here. So let's zoom in down right towards this target. So as we zoom in, we can see our pancreatic islet here. Now, the pancreatic islets produce a number of different hormones. For this class, we're going to focus on the two most important. The two hormones we're going to focus on are glucagon, which increases the plasma concentration of glucose, and insulin, which decreases plasma glucose levels. There's other hormones produced in the pancreatic islet as well, things like pancreatic polypeptide and somatostatin, but we're not going to focus on those for this class. This slide shows an ovary. The ovary is part of the endocrine and reproductive systems since it produces both hormones and egg cells. If we look at the outer layer of the ovary, we can see ovarian follicles in different stages of development. An ovarian follicle is simply an oocyte, an egg cell, plus the layers of cells that surround it. Those extra layers of cells produce the hormones. Let's zoom in on this ovarian follicle over here so that we can get a better idea of what we're looking at. So as we zoom in here, right here, so we see our ovarian follicle. In the center is this very large cell. This is the oocyte or egg cell. Around this egg cell, we see all of these different layers of cells. These are our granulosa cells on the inside, and then we have theca cells around the outside. The theca and granulosa cells are involved in the production of estrogens. So these are the hormone-producing cells inside of the ovaries. The slide we're currently looking at shows a testis as well as the epididymis. We're going to focus on the testis portion of the slide, which is this region down here. We'll learn about this structure, the epididymis, later on in the semester. Like the ovaries, the testes are part of the endocrine and reproductive systems. The testes produce both sperm, which is the male gamete, as well as sex hormones. Let's zoom in on this area of the testis right here so that we get a better idea of what's going on the inside of it. We're going to zoom in right over here. There we go. So now that we have a nice, clear, zoomed-in view of the testis, the first thing I want to point out is that I think the testis kind of looks like a bunch of kiwis that have all been stacked together and sliced open. These tubular structures are called the seminiferous tubules. This is where sperm are being produced. And if we look inside of the seminiferous tubules, we can see some small immature sperm cell being formed. Now, if we look outside of the seminiferous tubule, we see this little cluster of cells here. These cells are called Leydig cells. Leydig cells are responsible for producing testosterone in response to luteinizing hormone that's being released by the pituitary. And as we know, testosterone is our male sex hormone.